Folks, we are back. It is not the Brady Bunch, but it is your favorite bunch of faces as the Bills are on to the divisional round, folks. I think we all know what that calls for. Let's raise them up to the Bills. To a great weekend. No matter what, when you win, it is a great weekend. And not to make everything about Kevin Spacey, but we got the usual suspects moving left to right. We got at Meerkat Cat, at Joe Cons Jr., at Ty B. Drawn across the middle row, at Judge Mathis holding it down. One half of the Bills, guys. One half of, well, not one half of Beefo Fanatics, but sometimes it feels that way. If it's, say, that show night or that Sunday when they do a 10,000 viewers, whatever they do. Greg Thompson, cover one, breaking down all the analysis. Amazing work on some Josh Allen footage today by Eric and Nate, showing how Josh was toying with that Colts defense. And then we have Greg Thompson. We have Monster. Oh my God, we got you guys all going around. We got Greg. How are you doing? Monster, how are you doing? And finally, finishing it out, we got Elbuff at the bottom. Elbuff, how are we doing? Fantastic as always. I think we're all doing well. Let's face it. Let's go in that order. Let's start Lemire, Cons, Tybee. I mean, initial feeling after that victory. Fallout from the Colts.
I mean, big sigh of relief, obviously, to get it done. I went in way too confident in that game. A lot of us in last week's Pod-a-Palooza were really confident going into that. Thought the Bills would cover the spread. It was a lot closer than we thought. It came down to the wire, but I'm happy it's over. I'm excited for the Ravens, and it just feels so good to get that first playoff victory of my entire lifetime. I didn't know how to act after it happened. It was wild, but I'm still living in the moment.
Yeah, I got to piggyback off of what my man Mir Cat says here. Going to that game, I was very confident, but I think what we all had to realize was that no game is going to be easy moving forward. So that was one of those games where I don't think I took a breath for like a second. Like I was up, I was pacing, I was moving around. It was one of those games where I'd been waiting since I was, 5 years old, where I could remember Bills games for another playoff victory. So, that was incredible. And man, that Hail Mary at the end of the game, I think I was holding on to the edge of my seat. I didn't even watch the Hail Mary. I kind of turned and was expecting, the worst of the worst. But that, like we were talking, that volleyball spike at the end, man, all my anxiety just went away. So it's just a great game, and we're on to the Ravens.
Oh, absolutely.
People, sorry, Ty B, just real quick, I want to get the group. Talk to a couple people that actually did not watch that Hail Mary live. They were in the other room or anything. Real quick from this group, anyone else not able to watch it live?
Every second of it.
Okay,
and couldn't miss
I just wanted that one. Kick us off, Ty B.
Got 20 years of scars. Bring it on. We fuck up. I want to see
it. Exactly. I'm right there with Monster. That's exactly what I was going to talk about. We've had it for so long. Like a lot of us were, what if they catch this? What if they have this Hail Mary? And then, you have that huge rush of emotion right there at the end of the game, especially like Meerkat, Kanzi, and I, like, we're at that age where like we don't remember that last playoff win. So it was our first real playoff win we've seen. So that happens, like you're celebrating, like I'm crushing another Labatt, and like I'm looking at my buddies and I'm like, what do we do now? Like what do you do the rest of the weekend? Like it was like the biggest rush of emotion. And then like I get home and I'm watching the Seattle game and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to sleep for 12 hours. I just spent myself absolutely like fully. I woke up at 7 in the morning again. I'm like, can I do that all over again? Like I'm ready for the next ride. Like I cannot wait until Sunday night or Saturday night.
Judge, Elbuff, what were you thinking? Second half, the Colts seemingly out of it. All of a sudden, Rivers hits the pedal to the metal, and they seem to be coming back into it. Then the victory.
Well, I'll say. Oh, sorry, you can go.
No, you go.
I was about to say we're like 3-4 people in, and nobody has talked about this guy yet.
I didn't even see it.
Can we have a conversation
about
God,
this? That's great.
Can we not have a conversation about this guy?
We're gonna have a conversation about him.
Our quarterback's having an MVP season. So what's the logical next step? You got to deliver in the playoffs. So a guy who last year, every single person in the national media was talking about how, he threw that game away, whether it's right or wrong. That's what the national narrative was. The last year in the playoffs, he choked it away. And he came out and he had the best quarterback performance of Wild Card Weekend. And to be frank, he carried this football team. Any other quarterback in this league behind center on Sunday in the Buffalo Bills lose that football game, he absolutely carried this team. So I wasn't really feeling all that worried in the second half because I knew Josh Allen was our quarterback. I started to get a little worried when the Indianapolis Colts got the last possession, though, because I knew Josh Allen wasn't going to get the ball back.
You didn't worry at all in the second half at all?
Nope.
I call bullshit. I call bullshit.
Bullshit.
There's no way.
I wasn't. No.
I was the same way. It seemed, you know when I was worried?
I wasn't worried till the Colts got the ball back. That's
Right.
when I started.
Yep.
When Josh Allen fumbled, I started to piss myself. Like that's when it got bad.
Felt it trickle down the leg.
When Rivers finds Jack Doyle on 3rd and 2 to go inside the 5 there, Colts up already in the second quarter. That was when I started to panic a little bit. I said, if the Colts get a touchdown here, things could get out of control. Bills make the goal line stand. We're talking Bills, Colts fall. I mean, it feels like it's still washing over. We're about halfway between the games right now. We're about halfway between the Colts and Ravens game. Greg, you had a chance to look at it a little bit more of the bigger picture. Now that we're, 72 hours plus away, what's your biggest takeaway from this game?
The rush of anxiety and fear of what could have happened, the relief, that weird mix of emotions, not knowing how to act. 25 years of, we're talking about a divisional round playoff game here that hasn't happened in half the people on this panel's life. So going through that kind of setup and being in that position, it's just a weird mix of emotions, trying to figure out, okay, let's go, let's focus, let's move on to the next thing. We talked a lot about survive and advance. Like, it doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't matter where it is. How many times did we watch, Patriots playoff games over 20 years that they didn't deserve to win and get frustrated and watch them find a way to move on? It was kind of nice to have one of those games that any way you slice and dice the metrics in this game, the Colts outplayed us in 3/4 of the things that usually decide football games, and the Bills won. That's pretty freaking awesome.
No, wait, yeah. Didn't you have that list of all the things that basically the refs? Break it down again one more time for the people.
So all the different things that normally decided that no team had ever lost with 450 yards of offense and 0 turnovers. That, it was honestly one of Brian Daboll's rougher games of the season, and they still won. You had, no running game to speak of whatsoever, and you still won. You had we got out more first downs.
3 and outs?
Yeah, most 3 and outs
3
we
and
had
outs
all
all year.
season. The first time that we had more first downs than the opponent, than our opponent. They had more than us. The first time all season, the Bills lost toxic differential and we won a game. So they had more big plays, no turnovers, everything that normally decides a football game, and the Bills still won. That's pretty amazing.
So
I had to call Dable halfway through the game. I had to straighten him out.
He did. He
I
did
see
the
him.
Dable call. A lot of people were loving Monsters call the Dable and seemed to flip the switch when they came out.
Hey,
with
what are you doing?
What was
Right
everyone's-
through. Put him right through.
He was trying to make fetch happen with the Josh Allen running game. He was definitely trying to make fetch happen. But now he
My
has it on
question
film.
is-
Now he has it on film.
My question is this, because you said we could take this wherever the heck we want it.
Oh, yeah.
What was everyone's reaction to 3 straight runs punt?
And then you hear what he says
Everyone's
today.
reaction to
And then
that.
you hear what he says this week. Oh my God, you love it.
What's
I
it?
can't-
L,
I
what's
can't say
your
what I said
thoughts
on
first?
Instagram about it, because there's a lot of cuss words in there, but I was displeased with the play calling that he chose.
Yeah, it was very uncharacteristic of the Bills. They were kind of choking on it on Saturday a little bit. And yeah, it's nice, like you said, Greg, to have all those things going wrong. And so in the game, we are just 10 minutes in here to the Podcast-a-Palooza happy hour. We got folks from all across the net here joining the minds. Great minds think alike, but we're seeing if that's the case here. Monster. My takeaway from everyone so far is that as Bills fans, we don't know how to act. We're on the other side of this game, and we're just lost. Guide us. How should Bills fans be feeling after that game against the Colts, heading into Lamar Jackson and the Ravens?
For those of you who are young and this is your first time ever experiencing any playoff success, it's not going to get any funner until we win. It's going to be anxiety next week. It's not going to be, we just sit back. Maybe we happen to blow somebody out. That's fine. We did it to the Raiders back in my day, 51-3. That was a game you can relax at. But the anxiety, it's not going to get any better. You just got to hope that the boys show up and they put forth a better effort, because we got gashed on the ground. We got gashed on the ground in that game, and we need a better game plan. But I fully expect us to come out after we played this week and the effort we put in to play a hell of a lot better next week. But as far as what's going forward, it's going to be excitement. It's going to be the exact same thing you just went through last week. It's going to be the exact same thing if we make it to the AFC Championship game, only you're going to kick it up a notch because the chance to go and play for the fucking chip. So we get to the AFC Championship game, the feelings you felt last week, triple them, buddy, because that's where the big stakes lie. And it's going to be one hell of a fun ride.
It's like getting on a bigger roller coaster.
It is like
seriously,
right?
Let's have Monster kick it off the other way, and then anyone who wants to jump in on this topic can do it. The Bills obviously need a player on the defensive side of the ball. There's a couple obvious candidates. Monster, who do you want tracking number 8 Lamar Jackson this Saturday night?
I want the guy who's in the right position and the right scheme to track him. It doesn't have to be Tremaine Edmonds. It doesn't have to be Matt Milano. Just devise a scheme to shut his legs down. That's it. Make him stand back there and throw it, okay? This is the Ravens. This isn't Miami. This isn't one of those other puss-fried teams, all right? Baltimore's going to come out, they're going to punch you in the mouth. From kickoff, we need to punch him. We need to punch him in the mouth. Play physical from the jump, continue to play physical, and ground him into the ground right until the end. That's what we got to do. Contain Lamar. I don't care who does it. Just make an effective scheme and shut him down.
Anyone want to argue that point? I thought it was pretty well spoken. I feel like that was like Will Ferrell in Old School vibes when he has a debate.
No,
there's
nothing
nothing
perfect.
that can be added there. That's
What happened?
Yeah, no, it's true. It's literally if Leslie Frazier, who now, and this is a topic all in itself, getting some head coaching looks, unknown whether he officially took them yet. But yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what they can do.
People have talked a lot about, hey, I wish we had Shaq Lawson back. And, I joked about it. That's like people who used to talk about Ruben Patterson like he was a Kobe stopper. That doesn't exist. There's no Lamar stopper here.
No Lamar stopper.
There's no person who's a Lamar stopper.
The team effort.
He had a handful of good snaps. Joe, Monster's spot on. It is a complete team effort. You're going to see people wear out terms they don't understand, like gap integrity and things like that. But that's what it is. It's being able to stick to your spot and don't let somebody mess that up, because it takes 11 guys to stop, honestly, maybe the most electric player with a ball in his hands in the league.
No lie. I say gap integrity at least twice a show and I have no idea what the fuck it means.
It's a big time hot term. Gap integrity. It has to be maintained.
It's everywhere.
Number one right
So,
now.
tomorrow at work, just talk about it. Could be at the water cooler. You're on your Zoom call.
I talk to
with people
children.
around there.
I talk to children all day. So
It's
you
gap
know
integrity.
what's a great point there, Vicious? You know what no one's talking about? Gap integrity.
Gap
It's
integrity.
also a great quality to look for to make.
Michael Strahan knows a thing or two about gap integrity.
I like it. I like it.
You have a nice family. You have to go insult like one of the most popular guys who has a J.C. Penney clothing line.
I wear his
Shame
shirts.
on you. Okay. Well, hey, run around. Let's go round table. Let's go Meerkat, Cons, Ty B, real quick. What was scaring you more in the second half against the Colts? Phillip Rivers or the refs?
I mean, Phillip Rivers was, oh my God, he impressed the hell out of me. I didn't expect that type of performance out of him. It almost felt bad when we beat him after like the excitement of the Bills winning calmed down a bit, seeing like how emotional he was and stuff, because that dude is a baller and he balled. But those refs after that fumble, coming into the Hail Mary, I was convinced somehow, some way we were going to lose that game off the call from the refs, whether a phantom PI or something. But after that Pascal no fumble, I was terrified, absolutely terrified.
Let's go to the president of the Tyler Bass fan club, Joe Cons.
Yeah, so, I mean, we all know what Phillip Rivers can do. Whether he throws 4 interceptions or throws 4 touchdowns, you know what you're getting. And when you see him with the ball, in the second half, we even saw him, we saw one side of Phillip Rivers in that Steelers game. The Steelers played the Colts where, he kind of threw the game away. And then you see him kind of starting to come back. I started to get a little worried about it. And then, like Meerkat said, that call kind of was just like, here we go again. That's like the first thing that's in my mind. Like my dad texts me, he's like, well, it was nice knowing you. I'm like, Dad, relax. The game's not over. Okay. This isn't your old Bills. Okay. But I think the big thing I took away, which helped me calm down a little bit, was, and Greg, you could probably allude to this a little bit. What the hell was Phillip Rivers doing on those 2 or 3 possessions where he's airmailing it out of bounds? Like at that point on that drive, like towards the end of the, I knew we had the game in the bag at that point because it just looked like he was just done. Like he was just like, oh, yeah, throw it out of bounds. I'm like, what is he doing? Like,
it's
this is
internal clock. The same
right.
reason we couldn't get pressure. Like people
Right.
talk about it like it was a failure by the defensive line.
Right.
No, it's just a guy who's going to get rid of the ball. He is not going to let you touch
Yep.
him.
Yep.
Marino went entire seasons doing that, back in the day. He's just going to get rid of the ball beforehand, even if it looks ugly, sailing it over the sideline.
Exactly.
He's old.
That was the
His
thing.
ass
Like,
don't move no more.
I was nervous until I saw that from Phillip Rivers, and then I started to calm down a little bit. But was it El Riveron? Is that his name? I don't even care what his name is. My gosh, the worst. I cannot stand that guy. I don't care if I ever have a shot at working in the administrative office of the NFL. Get that guy out of the league. Cut his paycheck. I hate that guy. I hate him. I hate him. I hate him.
Damn, you don't want him to get paid?
Huh?
Wow.
You don't want him to get paid? You said
I
cut
would like his
paycheck.
family to get.
We'll save that for another day. Ty B,
some-
reps or ribs? What was scaring you?
Oh, definitely the refs. I don't know why you guys were scared of Phillip Rivers. Yes, he dropped a couple nice passes in there in the first half, but he was not doing it on a completely consistent basis. And you saw him come out in the second half. He didn't really have it. Most of the damage was really being done with some gashes, which were mainly being set up because of the run plays. When they were getting some successful runs, you'd see him get, a 7-8 yard run, and then they'd hit that, 20-yard play action pass real quick with Phil just dropping it in there, but it wasn't consistent. And I'm sorry, like the refs, the way they've called things throughout the first round of the playoffs, I'm going to be just as worried as I was this week as I am or last week as I am this week, because of the way they've been calling things. Like that Pascal call is the exact reason. Like I don't understand that at all. You can't convince me otherwise. The offensive pass interference, like I get he kind of moved into him, but like you can bump within like 5 yards, my guy. Like I don't really know what you're doing. Like it's ticky tack. So like we're going to see it, both ways. You got to feel out the refs early on, and you got to play to what the refs are going to let you do. And that's what really smart teams do. That's what the best guys do. They feel it out. That's why you see Trey White fooling with them in the pregame. He's getting in their heads, seeing what he can do, buying those brownie points. The same reason why Sean McDermott's right there. Oh yeah, Josh, he's a good kid. He's a great kid. You just got to buy those extra points. And I think hopefully it helps the Bills this time.
All right, Judge, what's the verdict? Ribs or refs scaring you down the stretch run?
I mean, the refs are the obvious choice because that's concerning. But to me, in the long term, because the game is over and we won the game, it's Phillip Rivers, because I feel like our defense all season, they either run extremely hot or they run extremely cold. Our defense doesn't really usually have those games in the middle. In the beginning of the year, they were extremely cold. As the year progressed, they got extremely hot. And it seemed like Phillip Rivers might have found the formula for getting in our defense's head, because he was getting that ball out quick. He was getting completions. He was driving the ball down the field, controlling the clock, picking up first downs. And in the second half, when they started gashing us, I almost feel like our defense was kind of losing their mojo, losing their confidence a little bit. And I feel like if you're Lamar Jackson, or if you're Patrick Mahomes, who's going to be facing us in 2 weeks, or if you're Aaron Rodgers, who's going to be facing us in 4 weeks, you're probably going to think like, all right, I can dink and dunk my way down the field and get in this defense's head, because their tackling in the second half was absolutely atrocious in some of those big run plays. It wasn't the fact that the Indianapolis Colts drew up a really good run play. It was the fact that we couldn't tackle. Like we were missing tackles left and right.
Yeah, you brought up losing their mojo, and speaking of Austin Powers, I didn't think the refs' calls were very groovy, baby, in the second half. I was getting ready for the post-game show, and all of a sudden, this fumble that's pretty obvious, I think that Jordan Poyer makes literally the perfect play. He gives him just enough time to get up, and then rips the ball out. I mean, it's incredible. And then all of a sudden, it does not get overturned. I mean, it just seemed like something weird was up. Glad we were able to persevere. Elbuff, what was scaring you? Phillip Rivers or the refs?
I mean, historically, Phillip Rivers doesn't always come back strong in the second half. I was not nervous about him. Not even.
Phillip Rivers is shit.
I was not concerned about him. What I was concerned about was our defense being able to cover the shit that needed to be covered. Matt Milano having 2 moments with Doyle that he couldn't handle. And then, I mean, the shit with the refs, I mean, literally every single commentator, every single official, every single anybody anywhere with two fucking eyes all said the same thing. That's a fumble.
Ray Charles saw that.
It's honestly one of the most universal reactions I've ever seen online. Everyone saw it
since the Saints.
The internet
Saints
agreeing on something.
Yeah, seriously, that's a good comp, Mathis.
Even Cowherd said that was his number one takeaway was the Bills almost got screwed.
Right. And I literally was sitting there and I was waiting for it, and I'm like, we're taking way too long on this. So either this is this man's first day or he needs new eyes or something. But if he calls this as being not a fumble, the entire city of Buffalo is about to burn to the ground. Like literally, it was terrifying in the sense that it could have gone horribly wrong for us.
Well, but I got a question for the panel then. Right when that happened, right after that, where they didn't turn it over and the Colts kept the ball, what went through every fiber of your being? What did the last 20 years tell you was going to happen?
I was violently shaking. I was so furious and positive that we were about to lose because of that call. I was literally on fire.
Yeah. I looked right at the clock though. For whatever instinct in me, I looked right at the clock. I'm like, 14 seconds, no timeouts. Phil doesn't have a great arm. I'm like, it's not that bad. It's not that bad.
I'm just saying for the game
good for you. I wish I had that in me. That was not.
I think it was just from playing football for so long. Like I'm like
Greg.
right back. What's going on with the next play? I'm thinking that. I'm like, it can't be that bad. I'm like, it can't be that bad. Like we're not getting screwed again. And then
I was getting ready for a phantom PI or something. I'm just like, I thought, like I said, I knew after the refs screwed us, something was going to happen in my heart of hearts. I'm like, this just doesn't end happy for the Buffalo Bills. I've never seen it end happy for the Buffalo Bills in this situation. Like,
needed the Colts to cover. Vegas needed it.
And Jacoby not coming in surprised me. I thought he was their Hail Mary guy.
That surprised me too. That was a whole nother thing. I thought, they had him throw it a couple times throughout the season. Mm-hmm. How do you not bring him in that spot? You brought him in to run that one time, like in the goal line or whatever it was.
Because was that Hail Mary?
They were asking for like a 60,
getting in?
60-plus yard throw.
No,
it was like,
it wasn't getting in.
No, he batted it down to like the 10-yard line.
Yeah,
Greg,
there's no chance.
Greg, I'm with you though. Like I was thinking that way too. Just like, oh no, like
there's nothing logical about it. There's nothing analytical about it. It's just pure.
You talked about internal clock.
Of 20 years telling me that this is bad.
That was like my first like split second till I saw the situation.
Can we all talk about how long it took them to look at?
No, I didn't get the answer about the left.
It was like the
to me,
I drank 2 Labatt's.
To me, the inner conspiracy theorist in me was, all right, they understand it's a fumble. They understand it's a fumble. He is sitting there with Al Riveron having a 10-minute conversation on how they can justify this as not being a fumble. Like in my mind, that's what was going on underneath that tarp.
Yes.
It was clear as day a fumble.
Yes. There's no logical explanation.
He gets up and initiates the contact too. It's not like he got like up and like put his hands up or like try to toss the ball to the ref or try to set it down to spot it. He literally gets up and like initiates that contact.
Right.
Like he's going forward.
It was fucking terrible. It was terrible. You know what I equate the refs to? All right. You know what I equate the refs to? You're out with your buddies at Soho for the night. You're gonna leave. You're all standing in a circle and you're going, "You're all right to drive? What about you? You good? You all right to drive? What do you think?" Like just a drunk circle. Nobody knows what the fuck's going on. Like somebody's
drunk,
gonna make a bad decision. It was terrible. It was terrible. And to go back to the other thing, give me a second here. Yeah, I hated when they took kickoffs out because the pussification of the NFL. And I've been noticing, like, from the last half of the season to the playoffs, how many times have they blown the whistle without a guy being tackled? All these fucking stand-up tackles. They're just hugging. Nobody's on the ground. Like, throw them to the ground. Like, what are you blowing the whistle for?
Real
I can't stand all
early.
these soft, I'm going to blow the whistle because I don't want you to get hurt. Let them throw them to the ground. It's a tackle. It's a gladiator.
It's a strategy for Stephon Diggs.
Well,
I would have appreciated a whistle on that Josh Allen fumble.
But
what the hell? What the hell?
We got to take that with Josh because they give that when he drags, the lineman an extra 2 to 3 yards. That is part of it. I got to take that.
anyone who was complaining about Josh Allen and then also celebrating the 15 highlight plays during the season where he refuses to get sacked and then unleashes the ball down the sideline for some toe drag swag, like, come on, like it's a package deal and there's way more good than there is bad. Every once in a while, he fights a little too hard. It happens.
Yeah, but we still get shit from the national media. Like, I was arguing with a guy on another podcast. He's like, Josh Allen almost cost you that game. I'm like, okay, well, what about the play where Josh Allen was going to send Diggs? He checked out of it. The defense rotated back. He checked back into it and threw the touchdown to Diggs. What about that play? What about
They're not even remotely in the game
sideline?
without him.
It's a crazy idea, but the guy who touches the ball on every offensive play virtually can win you a game or cost you a game. He can
but don't pay attention to the 9 plays that won us the game. Pay attention to the one that almost cost us.
Yes.
Scumbags. I can't
Skip Bayless.
Were you on Nick Wright's podcast? Were you on Nick Wright's podcast?
Skip Bayless.
We should do a documentary on the lateral from the Texans game because that was literally like Josh Allen killed a small family. Like,
It's him mashing the Xbox controller, hitting every
And you
single
wanna know
button
what?
on
Yeah,
that
Josh
during
Allen
Madden.
had MVP numbers, but
If Dawson Knox was a little more,
lateral.
if Dawson Knox was a little more heads up in that moment, he catches it in stride and it's a like season long highlight.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
It was a crazy play, but he saw it. It wasn't insane. Like it was him trying a little too hard in the moment. But if that connects, that's a career highlight.
I think with a little seasoning, if he puts in the kind of work that Josh put in from last year to this year, I think Knox could be another Travis Kelce. He's got the size. He's got the skill. Just work on it. Just work on your hands and work on, you know what I mean?
Travis Kelce is in like a tier of his own in the tight end.
He's arguably one of the
And
best.
then there's 3 empty
Well, I
tiers
mean, I
below
wasn't
him.
going to say George Kittle or Tony Gonzalez or Gronk, but he can be a top tier tight end.
Holy
already like 4 of
I
the
said I'm not.
10 greatest
I
tight
said I'm
ends of
not
all
going to name
time.
those.
Whoa.
Fuck you. That's why I went with Kelce because I didn't want to
Okay,
name the
so
other one.
what could he be? Like an Austin Hooper? Hanging with Austin Hooper?
Hunter
Not
Henry.
a fucking Austin Hooper. No.
Peyton Hillis.
He's going to be the
There's
first.
so many
offensive
tight ends in
lineman.
free agency, though.
Peyton Hillis.
Peyton Hillis.
I'm saying I'm not ready to give up on Knox yet. Let
I'll
the
tell you
kid get
what, I'll tell you
sprinkled
what,
and let him get
Monster,
seasoned and
you
let's see what
might-
happens.
You might be feeling on an island, but your
Let him
people
prestige.
are chiming in. You got Jay McCoyak saying, I feel you, Monster. Seth Baker coming in hot right now. Wins are a QB stat. I think.
Can he be Jay Reamersma first?
Yes.
Like, can we get that first? Like, I'll take Jay Reamersma first.
Fuck Pete Metzelaars, Greg.
Yeah.
Pete Metzelaars.
Dude,
at
at
least
Baby steps. Baby steps.
We are running a little bit long
Let's
time,
roll.
so we gotta
Shit.
get to it. We gotta get to it officially. The Ravens, quote the Raven, nevermore. We are coming in hot. We got a team that we went from being a team that has, you know, a respectable logo to a team that stomps on logos. So how are we gonna prevent the Baltimore Ravens from stomping on our Buffalo Bill logo this weekend? I want everyone, let's go reverse. Let's go Monster first and then Greg. 30 seconds, key to the Bills' victory on this Saturday night.
I said it before. Just make a scheme to shut down Lamar. Make them beat you. I don't have confidence that their defense is going to shut us down at all. It's simple. I'm not going to go on it. Punch them in the mouth and keep punching them in the mouth. And as far as the logo goes, the team captains, as soon as you go out there, stand on the fucking thing. Stand on the logo the whole warm-up. Just throw the ball back and forth on the logo and just stare at them. Like, I dare you to come near the fucking logo. See what happens when you come near our logo. That's how you handle that situation in my locker room.
I dig it. I think Monster's right on. I'm even going to flip it a little bit in the fact of I don't care what our game plan is for Lamar Jackson. Outscore them. They can't keep pace with what we do. He's going to put up points. We're not going to hold them to some weirdly low number. They're going to put up points, and we don't have a great run defense. I don't care. Score more points than them. Run away. Let them try to keep up.
Okay, let's go to Elbuff and then Judge.
Greg knows his shit. He does stat stuff. I don't do stat stuff. Numbers confuse
You
me. I
had
don't
two
read-
killer takes tonight. You're spot on.
Monster, you're killing it, man. I
Killer
love it.
takes.
Monster just
Love
did the
this.
eye test. That's why he's
I'm thankful that you guys are here and you can let me do my bullshit and be all stupid.
Oh,
I
degenerate
appreciate it.
Alex texted me how much he's loving it right now.
You're a fan. You're killing it.
So
I
I'm
love you
thinking-
guys.
I need the defense from last year. I need us to play like we are top 3 because we have just been playing like trash. I don't give a fuck who it is that we are missing from last year. I don't want to hear any more excuses and more bullshit about missing star and we have gaps here and there. I need our guys to come in. I need them to play like they are number fucking one, because we cannot be the best until we beat the best. We have to get out there. We have to. I am ready. I'm ready to come in. I'm ready to play hot. I want every single one of our dudes to be angry. And I'm not going to lie, I want to see AJ Klein come out there, and I want to see him play the best fucking game that he has played of his entire career, especially this season. After we just like obliterated him as a human, we bullied the shit out of him. I want to
We made him good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peer pressure him to be good.
By God, as Billy Buffalo is my witness, that take is broken. It has. Let's go, Judge. Give it to us. What's the key?
The key is this guy right here. I mean, come on. The key is this guy right here. Greg was spot on. Two things. Number one, Josh Allen's just got to outscore him. Like, if Josh Allen can go up against that defense and do what Patrick Mahomes did to that defense in week 3, 350 plus yards, 4 touchdowns, the Buffalo Bills aren't going to have a problem beating the Baltimore Ravens. However, I will give one caveat. If the Buffalo Bills lose the field position, yeah, you like that word? You
Use a school word. I like using that caveat in there.
Yeah.
The word caveat.
If the Buffalo Bills don't improve the field position game, and they have another field position game like they had against the Indianapolis Colts, Lamar can outscore us, because there's no way the Buffalo Bills beat the Baltimore Ravens if we have that god-awful field position again and we give them that field position.
Fucking amen.
It was brutal at first, of course. Let's go reverse order. Ty B, Cons, Lemire. Quick hits, key to victory.
Yeah, so a lot of Bills fans are forgetting about this right now. Josh Allen's first ever game action, Baltimore, absolutely getting his ass whooped in a goddamn monsoon.
I'll never forget it.
The worst game I've ever been to in my entire life. I put on 10 pounds of water weight, and it was not from the alcohol I drank. It was from the rain that was coming down. We were getting hit with a tropical storm, and Nathan Peterman lays an egg, and Josh is thrown out there. We're giving up special teams touchdowns, tons of turnovers. Can't do a goddamn thing. And what happens? We see some lights from Josh. We see it get lit up from Matthew Judon. Guess what? I think there's a big stiff arm coming from Matthew Judon this week. I think Josh is going to have a big performance. I think what you're going to do early on, if you're smart, you break that man coverage with a little bit of Josh Allen running. You infuse that early on. You get those eyes into the backfield. He goes over the top. That gets you completely out of your game plan. That's exactly what you have to do if you're Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. Believe in your legs, believe in your arm, know when to use both of them, utilize them.
Kanzi.
Can I? Oh, sorry.
It's all good.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I like what Ty said. I think my matchup in this game is going to be the Bills offensive line versus the Ravens pass rush. And if it holds up, because you have to remember, if it holds up, Josh is going to eat all day. And the reason I say that is because I'm expecting a lot of 10 and 11 personnel in this game. It just seems like, the Ravens play a ton of man. They blitz a lot. Allen does great versus the blitz. And I just feel like Dable's going to spread them out and Allen is going to sling it. Every now and then we get one of those games from Allen where it's just picture perfect. And I feel like this weekend it's going to be like that San Francisco game, but a little more, just a little bit more. It's going to be like you combine the Seattle game and the San Francisco game in one, and they're going to sling it all over the yard. But like I said, spread it out, let it rain. And guys, are you not fired up by what Cole Beasley said? I mean, come on. Tell me you didn't want to run through a wall when he said the pain of watching these guys play in week 17 mentally was worse than the pain that was going on with his ankle, foot, whatever it is. So, yeah, I think the Bills are going to sling it this weekend.
Okay, let's reverse order. We're starting with Meerkat. I know, Meerkat, you didn't give your take and then your score prediction, and we're going through, and then we're signing off, folks.
All right, so I think the big factor of this game, maybe the biggest factor, what Lamar and Josh can do. I think it's going to be a coaching battle. McDermott versus Harbaugh. You're going to get Martindale versus Frazier. You have Roman versus Dable. It's going to come down to that, and the not maturity, but the growth we've seen as Sean McDermott as being a game manager this year, especially recently, has impressed me because he has mishandled time situations, game management. all that stuff earlier on in his career. It seems he's finally, developed a knack for it. He knows when to do what, and that's going to be important in this one. And then Greg Roman versus Brian Gable. You got two guys who could just scheme the hell out of like really gimmicky schemes at times and really throw a defense off their game. So I think the coaching battle is going to be a big one in this one. I'm curious to see if maybe we try to sell out the opposite way we did against the Chiefs, where we let them run against us and let them beat us with the run instead of through the air. I'm wondering if it's going to be an opposite sellout against the Ravens, but I do like the Bills in this one. I do like points, and I do like it to be close. I'm taking Buffalo 31-27. Let's go Bills, baby.
Fonzie and Ty B, let us know what you got.
Yeah, so I think the Bills are going to sling it. And like I said, you guys just heard all my little spiel about that. But I'll just give my score prediction because you heard me talk enough. I got Bills 31, Ravens 21.
Dig it.
Jeez, you guys are both on the same score. I think there's going to be 2 field goals. Shout out to the Tyler Bass fan club. 30-28. I think it's going to be close. They're going to score. They're going to get some points. But I think we're going to be able to just get enough because of Tyler Bass.
All right, Judge and LB, what do you got happening on Saturday Night Live in Orchard Park?
I'm banking for a 27-21. I'd like to think that my Bills are still going to take that and keep it close, but with any kind of hope, the defense is going to keep their scoring as low as possible. Fingers crossed, snow works in our favor.
All right. Like, what have we seen throughout Josh Allen's career? It is people disrespect him, people game plan and shut him down. And what does he do? He improves and he comes back better. And was there any defensive coordinator in the National Football League that disrespected Josh Allen more last year than Wink Martindale?
No.
You mentioned it, Greg. It might have been a little bit overhyped, but they did go cover 0. They blitzed to John Brown's side on every single play and forced Josh Allen to look the other way. Josh Allen is going to have an answer for all of those things this game, not to mention Gabe Davis and John Brown are going to be on the other side of Stephon Diggs and Cole Beasley. So I'm going to go Buffalo Bills 34, Baltimore 23.
All right,
What you get Diggs for?
2-minute warning, Greg, what do you got?
I'm going to go Bills 37, Ravens 22. I think we see a ton of highlights back and forth. I think this is a fun shootout. I think both Lamar and Josh Allen look good, and this is one of those games that people remember for a long time.
They didn't kick 5 field goals?
Yes. 2-point conversions.
Tyler Bass field club. Oh, come on.
Monty, what do you got?
Is Wink Martindale his real name?
Don.
Don is actually his first name.
It's Don Wink.
Wink for real.
I
It's
swear.
his nickname is
Wink
Wink
Martindale.
It's
Martindale.
Wink. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Like,
that long
so-
ass microphone with the little mushroom on top and shit. Like that was funny. I think it's gonna be it's gonna be 28-24. Buffalo's gonna take it. Lamar's gonna have the ball with 2 minutes to go, and our defense is gonna make a play. Now Lamar's a great athlete, but you know what? I refuse to lose to a guy who was drafted in a pool table jacket. Like people are telling me all the time, oh, why did he drop so low? Because GMs don't want to be in the draft picture with a guy wearing a fucking pool table. Like, that's why, like, all these other teams are like, I'm not taking that picture. It's not going on my wall. Like, you got to be kidding me. Like, we'll just let him fall. He'll be fine.
Folks, if you're wherever you're watching the Bills, just make sure no matter what, you don't get caught in a pool table jacket. Again, round the horn one last time. At BeerCatCat, at Joe Cons Jr., at Ty Beedron, at Judge Mathis, at L_Buff, at Monstering1977, at Greg Thompson. I'm going 28-23 Bills. You know we get it done. Big shout out to everyone joining in. Give them a follow. Thanks for tuning in. Let's go